Oh, it's its own chapter. Okay. The Pacifist.
Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there were two crystals. One was the crystallum lucis, protected by the ruler of the fairies. The other was the crystallum tenebrarum, which was watched over by the high leader of the witches. For a time, the fairies and witches lived in harmony with the humans of the kingdom.
He stopped suddenly, cheeks flushed. Oh, come on, it was just getting good.
You're laughing at me.
What? I am not. Cinna just glares at me. I like that you were telling it like a fairy tale. It was cute. Come on, keep going.
Maybe we could skip this part. We've heard it before.
Delora tells this story all the time, and no one laughs at her.
Delora does tell this story a lot, doesn't she? That is a good point. Chevalier looks like he is trying not to laugh.
Then, by all means, feel free to tell the story however you like, Cinna. I'm already intrigued.
Don't patronize me.
Cinna starts again at the beginning, describing a time when the fairies and witches got along. Then, inevitably, Hans destroyed the balance with his fairy tales. Normally, this would be the part where the storyteller explains that the Tenebrarum Bearer, my mother, went mad after the witch genocide. But instead, you're going to talk about Parfait being a pacifist, aren't you? But Cinna surprises me by going off on a different tangent.
When Hans realized what he'd started, he beseeched the Tenebrarum and Lucis Bearer to meet with him. The Tenebrarum Bearer wanted nothing to do with Hans. Her heart was already overfilled with hatred for the humans. The Lucis Bearer attempted to meet with Hans on her own, but the bard was killed by a witch before their meeting.
I stare. How did I not know this?
With Hans gone, the conflict spiraled out of control. The Lucis Bearer, Faye.
He stops suddenly, his gaze forlorn. Faye? Parfait?
Faye, What a lovely name. It suits her.
Yeah, I mean, we never would have made that connection. The fairies and witches in this game have the best undercover names. Cinna clears his throat.
Rather than put an end to the Tenebrarum Bearer's atrocities, Faye clung to her hope and optimism. She did not try to stop the tragedy until much later.
Ugh.
You know how the Tenebrarum works, Princess Lucette, so you must know why Faye was the way she was.
The Tenebrarum gathers and stores negative emotions. It then sends me those emotions to diffuse. This keeps the balance in check. It goes to reason that the Lucis would gather positive emotions. It used to irritate me that Parfait was always so positive. I thought it was a part of her personality, but... You are saying that Parfait was the way that she was because she absorbed positive emotions from the Lucis?
Yes and no. Faye was an optimist at heart. The Lucis just magnified those feelings. It blotted out other necessary emotions, like anxiety, caution, all of the things contained within the Tenebrarum. My cousin lost herself to hope and refused to see reality. It wasn't until the Tenebrarum Bearer killed the king and started wreaking havoc that Faye finally took a stand. Even then, she only took action when another witch came to her with a plan to defeat Hildir.
That would be Waltz. He's told me the story of his apprenticeship before. Cinna pops a lily-shaped biscuit into his mouth and looks at us both expectantly. Uh-huh.
So, do you see?
You said before you didn't want to make the same mistakes as Lady Parfait. Which means... You've been closing yourself off to the Lucis because you don't want it to impact your judgment.
No wonder there's an imbalance. All that positive emotion can't go anywhere. So... I'm trying to figure out how that affects Lucette's nightmares, though. Maybe he'll explain.
You make it sound like I'm not doing my job.
Oh, I never said that. But is it possible that closing yourself off from the crystallum has been doubling the intensity of the emotions in the Tenebrarum?
Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to put that into words. I think that's exactly what I was thinking, though, Chev. Thank you. I put my fingers to the temples of my head and grimace. I do not know how the Lucis works exactly, but I know that the balance between the two crystallum impacts this kingdom and the magic in it. If the balance is not maintained, magic will eventually go haywire.
I doubt it. You'd be able to see the ramifications if it was directly impacting the Tenebrarum.
With all due respect, Cinnamon, I think we already see those ramifications manifesting in the princess. She is the bearer, after all.
He looks at me uncertain.
Or am I misunderstanding?
I'm not sure. I don't know what happens when the two are out of balance. But I cannot help but recall Parfait's fragile state. She suffered from an illness Chevalier could not cure. Parfait was frequently in pain. She said it was because of what happened to her during the war, but do you think the imbalance between the crystallum might have impacted her as well? That's interesting, because she did look a lot better in the other routes we did. And maybe that's because the crystals were back in balance again due to Lucette? Chevalier stares at me wide-eyed.
So it was not just the weight of the Lucis that burdened her, but the weight of the Tenebrarum as well?
It's possible. Cinna raises an eyebrow. He still looks unconvinced. Cinna, as the bearer of the Tenebrarum, I am prone to nightmares. Sometimes the negativity causes my magic to flare or makes me impatient with people. I've accepted these are inconveniences that come with being the Tenebrarum bearer. Accepting the emotions that come with the Lucis are part of your responsibility.
It's not the same thing, Princess.
I mean, if we argue with him, he's just gonna double down. Let's try agreeing with him. Like, try to see his viewpoint, but then also be like, but consider... No, it isn't. Cinna looks like he's about to argue, but then he pauses, realizing I have agreed with him. I gotcha. I am sure the Lucis is different. I have no doubt you know its inner workings better than I do. But in order to maintain balance, Cinna, you can't close yourself off from it.
How would you know how the balance works? Did Faye explain it to you?
She did not. I do not have Parfait or Mother to help me figure this out. Even Delora and Waltz, for all their help, can only tell me what they know in theory.
Cinnamon.
What do you want, old man?
I want you to be open-minded and listen. How are you ever supposed to come to a consensus if you don't hear Princess Lucette out?
Cinna snorts.
I don't take orders from you.
Chevalier looks stoically at Cinna, who glares back at him. Chevalier does not so much as blink. I never thought stoic would be applied to Chev, but here we are. In the end, Cinna turns away with a grumble. That's right, you little tyke.
Fine, you don't need to tell me twice.
Splendid. Please go on, Lucette.
As always, Chevalier is able to change the tide of the conversation without even raising his voice. That is quite the superpower to have. I come at my argument from a different angle. Rather than insisting, I ask Cinna to rethink his methods. Chevalier is quick to back me up, but he does so in a way that makes it seem as if he is seeing both sides of the argument. By the time we are done talking, Cinna looks defeated.
Fine. I'll do what you ask, Princess, but only on the condition that you let me do it my way.
Tiny Lord, you're much too cynical for your age. If you keep this up, you'll have permanent wrinkles on your face before the year is up. You should smile more often.
And you need to learn how to face reality, old man.
Damn. Chevalier just laughs.
Life is all about balance, as they say, and I already have a very dedicated princess here to help me master it.
He smiles at me fondly. Years ago, when I first met Chevalier, he taught me the value of trust. I, in turn, lectured him on self-gratitude. I'd like to think we have both been good teachers to each other, even if Chevalier does still give a lot more than he receives.
I'm not in the mood for your philosophizing, thank you very much.
But I suppose you are in the mood for a cinnamon roll. Oh, is the Luce's bearer embarrassed?
One more word and I will shatter your glasses.
Chevalier is completely unscathed by the threat. He is smirking when he orders the cinnamon roll for Cinna. Such an angry tiny lord. Relief washes over me as the date carries on. For the first time in a long while, things seem to be looking up. Well, we shall see how it goes. The days pass in quick succession over the next week. Remarkably, I am able to fall asleep and stay asleep. I do not know what or if Cinna has done anything to the Lucis, but I am relieved for the change regardless. It has been 4 days now since our talk at the cafe, and I have some time on my hands after a meeting with Father and the counselors. Chevalier, who already knows about this, will be by in a few hours. Last I heard from him, he was busy setting up his new clinic space in the palace. His absence works to my advantage. I have some time on my hands to do something nice for him without him knowing. Yeah. In the end, I decide to go with my first idea. The scarf. Chevalier has been in need of a scarf for a while. He is not the same without one. True. But the question remains, what kind of scarf do I get him? Aw, make him one! You're talented, Lucette. If you can make a scarf as cute as that plush you made for Rod, I believe. It has been a long time since I sewed anything. When I was lonely, I used to sew puppet companions for myself, but I have never made clothing. I can still remember the scarf Bria made for Chevalier. Is there any way I can make one that looks even half as nice? Bria made a living as a seamstress. But me? I shake my head to clear it. I will make him a nice scarf. You got it. A maid passing through the hallway pauses to look at me. It occurs to me belatedly that I spoke aloud. If I must say the words for them to be true, then so be it. Never mind the embarrassment. I will make a nice scarf. Though it has been years since I sewed anything for pleasure, I am easily able to locate my supplies. I set everything out on the table and start working. The longer I work, the easier it becomes to focus. Eventually, I completely lose track of time.
Ah, and what is my lovely Lucette doing?
The minute I catch the glint of Chevalier's glasses, I grab the material off the desk and sit on it. Classic.
Ho ho, keeping secrets are we?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you hiding another romance book?
I will never forget the day Chevalier found me in here reading one of the romance books Emmeline lent me. Or rather, he will never let me forget it.
I should bring by another so we can read it together.
The last time he read a romance aloud, I wanted to throw myself out the window. Oh man, I wish I had been there. If you do that again, I will burn the book with magic.
Even if it's Emmeline's?
Even if it's Emmeline's. Cinna and Lucette are actually quite similar with their threats, like, if you do that, I'm going to do this, baka. Chevalier laughs as he leans closer, close enough for me to see the playful shimmer in his eyes.
You never answered my question.
It's nothing.
Oh?
He leans even closer until his lips are brushing my ear.
If it's nothing, then you won't mind me sweeping you off your feet to see.
I grip the chair when Chevalier sets a hand on my back. I will not let the surprise be spoiled. Before he can lift me off the chair, I lean forward and kiss him hard. Excellent, that was going to be my plan if I had the option. I'm like, just kiss him, surprise him. He freezes, but his surprise is only momentary. He kisses me back, his fingers trailing down my back and sending shivers down my spine. When we part, he steps away and holds up his hands in surrender.
Fine, I admit defeat.
Good, because you can never hope to best me.
No, I suppose not.
He plops down on the bed with a sigh. It occurs to me that today was his first official day as the palace physician. How was your work?
Good, I suppose.
You suppose. Chevalier shakes his head.
There wasn't much to do besides organize my inventory and order medication. Most of the nobles and servants who came by were healthy.
And how were they? Chevalier's expression is carefully neutral.
As I said, they were all healthy.
But how were they when you spoke to them? I cannot help but recall the way the two ladies in town looked at him. Many people, nobles included, are unafraid to show their dislike of him. But because Chevalier is Chevalier and dislikes speaking ill of anyone, he probably does not want to admit it. I really do wish he would talk to me. Yeah, but don't press him. He doesn't, like, as you said, he doesn't like talking ill of anybody. And if you press him for an answer, he'll just clam up even more. If he wants to share, he will, but... I trust Chevalier. I have faith that if things get too difficult, he will talk to me. You know, I will always be here to listen to your concerns. Just as there are things I would rather do alone, there are things he too must want to figure out on his own. Being able to support him in that endeavor is enough.
Thank you, Lucette. As always, you are the brightest, most glorious ray of sunshine in my life.
Aw.
And the best listener.
That is high praise coming from the actual best listener. He responds to the compliment with a soft kiss to my forehead.
I will never tire of your compliments, my sweet princess.
He pauses, suddenly looking thoughtful.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Of course not.
What do you propose I do about my more troublesome patients?
I am surprised by the quiet determination in his eyes.
I don't want you to needlessly worry about me. I know you have a lot on your plate.
When I do not say anything, Chevalier sighs and pulls off his glasses. Oh, he really did? I've never seen your sprite without glasses. It's weird, like your face is missing something. Man, you look even more like Tay now. Ugh. He regards me silently with his violet eyes, gaze somber. I notice he only takes off his glasses when it is just the two of us. He is much easier to read when he's not wearing them. Well, what have you done in the past with troubling patients? For once, Chevalier looks at a loss for words. While he is still distracted, I take the opportunity to quickly pull the uncompleted scarf out from beneath me and fold it up. Then, before Chevalier can question what it is, I tuck it into a drawer and turn back to him.
How mysterious.
Chev, do you ever think about what is good for you? I know the answer to that question too, but I enjoy the bewilderment on his face when I say it aloud.
What a silly question, Lucette. Of course I do.
I eye him skeptically. Squint. I think maybe you should spoil yourself more often. Chevalier's look of shock perhaps emboldens me more than it should. Before he can object, I grab his glasses off the bed and settle them on the bridge of my nose. Ah, yes. Ah, Lucette the teacher. You look great. Oh no, are you role-playing as him? This will lend credence to what I'm saying. Sorry, let me try that again. I tilt the glasses in the hope that I can make them glint the same way Chevalier does. Oh my goodness, this is my favorite scene ever. I think maybe you should spoil yourself more often, Chev. Chevalier's shock disappears, replaced by bemused glee.
Oh? I don't think so at all. After all, I think I'm already the luckiest man in the world to be spoiled by you.
Being spoiled by others and spoiling yourself are two different things.
Oh my, princess. Your words take on an even more sophisticated air with the glasses. Although... I'm sorry. Even though I'm sure you wear my glasses better than I do, I can't appreciate your beauty because I can't see you.
Just how bad is your eyesight?
Miserable.
I'm sitting right next to you.
Not close enough, I'm afraid.
Aw, you're nearsighted like my boy. You really can't see nothing. I sigh out, but in the end, shift closer so that I can lean my head on his shoulder. Chevalier does not miss the opportunity to plant a kiss on my forehead. He smiles.
I was right. Your eyes are scintillating behind those lenses.
Are they sparkling?
What?
Are the glasses sparkling?
Sparkling?
You always somehow manage to make your glasses shine.
Ah, I'm afraid that is my secret technique, princess.
Drat. Come on, share it with me, please. I thought you would say that.
Thank you for trying to cheer me up, Lucette. And for reminding me about something so important. I think the glasses do make you more convincing, by the way.
I have no doubt they are the reason you are so silver-tongued. Chevalier looks horrified as I hand his glasses back.
You make them sound like magic.
It is not so strange to think someone might have charmed them.
You don't think I was just born charming?
I wonder. There you go. Chevalier looks surer of himself when he puts the glasses back on. You promise that if someone bothers you, you'll come to me?
I never keep secrets from you, Lucette. I never have, and I never will. Unless they're meant to be surprises, then that is a different thing entirely.
You boys and your surprises. Gosh darn. He gives me a pointed look, a mischievous smile curling his lips.
I'm sure you understand the excitement of keeping a secret.
Well, you have me there. I shrug as nonchalantly as I can manage. I will not rise to his bait. He is not finding out about my scarf.
Anyway, other than a few disagreeable patients, everything has been splendid. I am enjoying the work so far. So long as I can help someone, I'm satisfied.
It may not be the kind of work he's used to, but I hope Chevalier's patients will treat him well. The more I think about it, the more I question the reason Chevalier moved his practice here to the palace in the first place. He said that he did it because the king personally offered him a job and he couldn't refuse, but... Chev, you didn't just move to the palace because of my father's proposition, did you?
Oh no, I wanted to change of location. I get to be closer to you this way.
But... Chevalier puts a finger to my lips.
No buts, lovely princess. I moved my practice here because I wanted to. You know how long I thought about this.
From what I remember, it was not very long at all. But Chevalier does not lie to me, so I will believe him. The tide of our conversation changes after that. Chevalier asks me about my day, and I am forced to make up a lie on the spot to avoid telling him the truth. I was just about to say, man, I love how honest you two are with each other. It's really, really nice that you just talk about things, talk it out, don't let misunderstandings happen. And then she's like, and then I lied right to his face. Wait. Excuse me. Choking on honesty. Choking on my lies. We talked for a while after that until I am forced again to attend to my responsibilities. Oh my, nighttime responsibilities. After I have finished all of my daily obligations, I head to the forest for my last meeting. Delora is waiting for me in the clearing with the usual smirk on her face. Magic training. I can sense the buildup of her spell moments before she casts it. Moments before her spell slams into me, I erect a small shield to block her magic. I sigh as her magic shatters my shield. It is nice to see you too, Delora. She always greets me like this. She says it keeps me on my toes. Nice weather we're having tonight, isn't it? She looks at me curious. Where's Casanova? He didn't follow you out tonight. He tried, but I didn't let him get very far. In fact, I froze his feet to the ground to make sure he stayed in the palace. It was obvious he needed the rest. Good job, girl. Delora just snorts. You two are perfect for each other. You're both stubborn as rocks. Thanks. Rocks are stubborn. Confirmed. I dismiss the words with a wave of my hand and prepare myself for Delora's next spell. Our training session begins as it always does, with Delora throwing spells at me and giving me only moments to counteract. We review shields, then basic offensive magic, and then charms. We are nearly on to object summoning when it occurs to me to ask about Cinna. When he first arrived in Angielle, he watched these practices from the sidelines, but tonight he is nowhere to be seen. How is Cinna? Are you actually worried for him? Or are you just wary because he's been so difficult lately? Both. Worry no more. Cinna's turned over a new leaf. She pauses, then gives a nearly imperceptible shrug. Well, half a leaf at least. Half? He's a skeptic at heart, so it will take a bit for him to open up completely. But what you said must have left an impression on him. I guess in the end, it makes sense you could help him best. The two of you are very similar, after all. She flashes a feline smile at me. I roll my eyes. I will not give in to her teasing. I know he can be difficult sometimes, but Cinna really is a good kid. I hope your talk with him could show you that. He said that he did not want to repeat Parfait's mistakes. I am glad his reasons were not selfish. He may act like a skeptical old man, but he's a kid at heart. He's definitely easier to deal with than a certain ice princess was. She raises an eyebrow at me. Thanks, Mom. Is it really necessary to keep bringing up the past? You speak as if you've had lots of experience with children, but you only compare Cinna and me. Well, she did have a daughter once upon a time. The smirk falls from Delora's face abruptly. I just realized that I never told you about her, huh? Her. Delora crosses her arms against the cold. I am taken aback by how small she suddenly looks beneath the shadow of the canopies. Lorea, my little girl. You have a daughter? Had. I lost her during the war. Whatever words I had been about to say lodge in my throat. When I look at Delora again, she is frowning up at the starry sky. At times like this, when it is impossible to change what's happened in the past, there is only one thing I can say. I am sorry. Delora shakes her head. It wasn't your fault. You don't need to apologize. For a long time, the two of us stand there looking at the stars. And then hesitantly, I break the silence. What was she like? Delora smiles wistfully. She was a lot like you and Cinna. She was free-spirited to a fault and always spoke her mind. And even though she never admitted to being a soft heart, she would always jump to the defense of others. I used to tease her all the time, and she'd get embarrassed and snap at me. She was my greatest treasure. My mind whirls, supplying images of humans attacking Dolores' daughter. That's not what happened. It was your mom. How could they have hurt a child? Dolores seems to read the question from my expression. She was killed during the war by Hildir. It is as if the air is torn from my lungs. I suddenly feel cold, empty. I was unsympathetic to Hildir. She believed that the only way to show me how much she was suffering as the Tenebrarum Bearer was to make me suffer. So she took away the person I loved most. Delora, You don't have to say you're sorry, Lucette. For a long time I've been wondering if I should even tell you this story. I never wanted you to blame yourself. But now you know, after everything you've gone through, that you are not like Hildir. When Hildir killed my daughter, I thought I'd never get another chance to have someone like her in my life. But then you came along. Oh gosh, my heart. I'm getting so sad because I'm getting feels from Fritz's route when we had this conversation. And then we lost Delora in that one. I'm like, oh, that's coming up next. Mommy Delora, no. Her smile mellows. I think if Lorea had grown up, she would have been a lot like you, Lucette. And now I have the honor of watching over a taciturn fairy, too. Lucky me, being able to watch over both the Tenebrarum and Lucis Bearer. She steps close enough to set a hand on my shoulder. I know you said that in your nightmares your mother told you you weren't good enough, but I know that's not true. I get to witness your magical strength every time we practice, and I know firsthand how dedicated you are. I cannot help but smile. Even though my heart is heavy with so many revelations, Dolores' words make the burden easier to bear. I have Chevalier and everyone at the Marchand to thank for that. Delora grins at me. Well, of course. But you remember what Parfait used to say? Goodness is innate in everyone. She taps my chest. So really, you had it in you all along. She draws her hand away with a grin. So, do you feel better now? I should be asking you that. Delora shakes her head. What's in the past is in the past. Honoring Lorea's memory is all I can do for her now. Honoring her memory. I hope Cinna and I are able to do that for Parfait and Mother. Delora backs away. No more getting sidetracked. Show me what you've got, Princess. The lesson continues into the night. It is obvious, however, that Delora and I have our minds on different things. I have no doubt she is thinking about Lorea. And me? I need to do my best to honor my own mother, and to keep those I love from suffering. And that includes Chevalier. Whew, that was deep.